Well, we've talked about Adam's equity theory and how employees need to feel like they're treated equally in the company, amongst coworkers, and actually treated positively in comparison to equals outside of the operation, such as a hotel worker at your place and a hotel person at the other place. Your employee needs to feel like they have a better deal than their equals at the other hotel. The grass is always greener here. So now we look at the concept of organizational justice, the extent to which people perceive that they are treated fairly. Do the employees feel like they're treated fairly? Do you, as employees, feel like you're treated fairly? Well, if a person doesn't feel like they're treated fairly, they're always going to be distracted. We've talked about also paying well, but paying well is only part of the equation. The benefits, the outputs of the organization to the employee include a lot of things, and fairness is one of those. Now, it's important to note that the definition, the extent to which people perceive that they are treated fairly. This right here is a key word. It's perception. Some people have it great and they just don't see it. We all go through that, don't we? What do you appreciate in life? What are all the good things? Oftentimes we just think about the bad things that are going on. We don't take time to smell the roses and appreciate all the good things that we take for granted. The same goes for an employee at an organization. Maybe you could do the exercise of making a list of things that you appreciate about your workplace and things that you have trouble with. So, the extent to which people perceive that they are treated fairly. How can we build this up? How can we? Perceived, what's going on here too? Perceived fair treatment removes hatred and distraction. Wow, that makes perceived fairness really important. Because if you are in a state where you really believe that you're treated unfairly, you're always going to be distracted. You're always going to be a borderline of hatred. You're always going to be a drag on the culture if it's not totally a drag to begin with. There's always going to be negativity, resistance, and all of this stuff. This stuff is important. So perceived fair treatment removes hatred and distraction. It's not just about pay, it's about the full package. Perceived fair treatment equals productivity. The less distractions we have, the more time we can focus on getting the job done and getting it done right. If people aren't in the mood, this plays into so many things. If people aren't in the mood, if there's hatred, how are they going to be productive? They're going to spend more time on the hatred than on getting things done. So what should management do? Management must monitor and maintain perceived fairness. Just like they must maintain and monitor and maintain the culture, well, the culture would include the perception of fairness amongst the employees. So here again, the key word is perceived. How can we do that? Management's got to maintain a perception of fairness. And we want it for real. We don't want smoke and mirrors, right? Include the employees, or at least explain to the employees a situation of change. They want to know what's going on. They want advance notice. They don't want to be in a state of fear. When people are surprised by change, that's one of the times they go, I don't like this place. And why weren't we notified to begin with? Point out the perks and the joys. Easy. Your parents or guardians did this when you were growing up, you know? Oh, I want a ball, but you didn't realize or you forgot that you had all these other toys that aren't being appreciated when they could be appreciated. So we point out all the good things, the joys that we have, the good things that work. Now, one of the key, from the best manager I've ever had, one of the key words that he had was, phrases, was spread the wealth. And I'm going to say, and he meant spread the wealth and spread the pain. If somebody in the organization's always getting curveballs thrown at them, or cleaning the toilets, whatever, spread the wealth. Spread all the good things, joys and stuff, amongst the people, and spread the pain amongst the people. Meaning, if somebody's getting beaten up, let's take them out of there for a while and have somebody else deal with the problem. Or if we have night shift and day shift, maybe people would like to rotate that so they're not always on night shift or day shift. Some people will like the night shift, some people will like the day shift. Spread the wealth and the pain. In order to do that, you have to have concern for your people and know the operation. Build relationships. A lot of this perceived unfairness comes from a lack of communication, a lack of trust. And if you can build that relationship and spend time with your people, celebrating the perks and the joys, showing concern, spreading the wealth and spreading the pain, then you will be in a better position to have happy employees. Explain peaks and valleys. If you haven't heard the term peaks and valleys, life is peaks and valleys. Sometimes you're riding high on Monday and then you get shot down later in the week, right? And we have to appreciate those times where we have the peaks, and then hopefully we're preparing for the valley that probably is going to come. So in business, maybe the peaks will be the Christmas season, or maybe for the accountants that have quarterly reports. You enjoy those peaks of having a balanced life, and then the valleys of having to turn in those papers at the end of the quarter. So we can enjoy the peaks, plan for the valleys, and while we're in the valley, we know that the peak is going to come back around soon, we hope. Get them to see the big picture. This includes peaks and valleys and all of this stuff, but get them to see the big picture. Sometimes there's going to be rainy days. The sun will come out tomorrow. The good stuff, the bad stuff, let them see the big picture. Show concern for your people. And with building relationships, then you're more likely to have perceived fairness. And hopefully the perceived fairness is real. There really is fairness that they understand. Have an appeal process for perceived unfair treatment. It's easy for somebody to have the perception that even when things are great and then they have a bad day, I'm not treated fairly. So they're suggesting to have an appeal process. If they really think they're having a problem, have a process in place, a place where they can go to air their frustrations and their perception of unfair treatment, and so we can get a resolution, get it resolved. One of the things from the papers was the person had I think it was a situation of perceived unfairness, and they went to the HR, who did nothing. This was from HR last semester. They went to HR, and they might as well, the letter that they wrote or the testimony that they gave, they might as well have just walked into the boss's office and said, "Here." We have to have a fearless HR. There's got to be, and I don't think it really exists in the small companies, because it's like the president, picking the head of the Department of Justice or something. If the boss picks the HR person and the employee complains to the HR person, you might as well have just told the boss. There's got to be a fearless HR person who's really there for not only the company, but for the employees. So that's important. A lot of times if there is an appeal process, at least the person knows that there is concern for them and there's a place to go if I'm mistreated or I have perceived mistreatment. Have a mature audience. You don't see this. I've never seen this in a text, I don't think. If you take a team of people, you hire thinkers, you hire people that have a conscience, you hire people that have a work ethic, and you train and you explain and do all of this other stuff, especially build relationships and show concern, you will end up with a mature audience. We have adults in our mature audience, not kids who are always distracted and playing around and crying about something. If we have a mature audience that understands peaks and valleys, where did that go? They understand peaks and valleys. They can see the big picture. And you might have to develop your mature audience. If you have a mature audience that can see these things, they have a bigger understanding. They know stuff hits the fan, stuff happens, and they can see the big picture, and they can maintain a sense of organizational justice. Good advice here.